Next one, we have real numbers, and we're going to define a couple things. So natural numbers are the numbers that come naturally as we count. So if I asked you to count, you might want to think about this real quick. So if I asked you to count, the numbers you'd probably start out with are 1, 2, 3, etc. So those are our natural numbers. Whole numbers are quite easy because they're just whole numbers. So they include 0 and our natural numbers. So natural numbers plus 0. Integers, and notice how we're breaking this down from the smallest group to the largest group. Integers are going to be the same exact thing as whole numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. But it also includes negative numbers. So negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. So that keeps going on both sides. Rational numbers are numbers that can be put into a fraction of integers. And irrational numbers, the definition is easy, are any numbers that cannot be put into rational numbers. So in the example above, we have a couple different irrational numbers. Pi is irrational, square root of 2/3, square root of 10, and you'll find as we go through the year there'll be more that we'll point out. Lastly, we have adding real numbers. So in adding real numbers, we want to look at it as the inverse property of addition. So it says that for every real number n, there is an additive inverse, negative n, such that n plus negative n equals 0. In English, what that means is that if there's any number, say 5, there's another number that you can add to it so that it'll be 0, which is the inverse of that number or the opposite of that number. So the opposite of 5 is negative 5, and what that property means is that you can add the opposite sign of that number and you'll get 0. So the last part of this is how do we add these numbers up? So I kind of put a little table together and it kind of asks you some basic questions to help you get through it. It says, are you adding numbers with the same sign? If your answer is yes, then you're going to add the numbers with the same sign, add their values, and the sum has the same sign as the addends. So addends is a fancy word for the two numbers. So you'll see here we have negative 4 plus negative 5. Are you adding this two numbers with the same sign? In this instance it's yes. Negative 4 is a negative and 5 is a negative. So we add them up. 4 plus 5 is 9. And we keep their sign, which is negative. So if I move that box, you'll see it's the same exact answer. If you're not adding numbers with the same sign, so no, it says to add two numbers with different signs, then we find the difference of their absolute values. The sum has the same sign as the addend with a greater absolute value. So in English, what that means is, notice we have 2 plus negative 8. So because the signs are different, we're going to subtract those two numbers. So 8 minus 2 is 6. But what you'll realize is that the 8 has a greater value and the 8 is negative. So your answer will be negative 6. Now it's your turn. Try these 5 you-try problems and write these down or solve these problems on your notes. But that's all for now. I'll see you guys next time.